Hello, trans siblings and curious friends. Welcome back to Willow's Woods. It has been a long time since I uploaded it. I promised, I don't remember what it was. I promised a video about, I think, coming out to my parents next. But it's been so long I figured I should do an update video first, because clearly things have changed a little bit. It's as they should. It's been a while. I'll start with my voice. Right now, it's a little different than the previous video. It's not at all where I want it to be. I haven't been practicing I haven't been practicing at all today, which is why it sounds a little belabored. I still want to be very open though about that sort of thing, because I know that voice is like a really big area of dysphoria for trans women especially, because if you're someone who can get on T and that's like part of your journey, testosterone changes your voice, estrogen does not. So it's a lot of work and very daunting, because basically you have to adopt the voice you want to use 24/7 in order to maintain it. Otherwise you're just gonna lose it or sound like this, where it's kind of like in between. To me, to my ears right now, it sounds very much like someone trying to sound like a woman and therefore not really passing. It's a frustrating and daunting process, especially because the beginning is so difficult, because like at the start, if you have not been like playing around with your voice, even doing like characters or such, you're very likely going to start out sounding really far off from where you want to be. So it's very kind of, I don't want to say daunting again. It's a very imposing kind of starting area, you know. It's difficult to push past that. But it is worth it if that's what you want. And also, 100%, you do not have to change your voice in order to be a valid woman, or a valid man, a valid non-binary person, whoever you are. You know, that's sort of like the big kind of grapple that we deal with in the trans community, is recognizing the difference between like gender roles and gender expression. Just like, it's okay to want to fit the binary, to perform that way, because gender is just a performance, but it's also very important to recognize that it is not necessary. It isn't what defines your either womanhood, manhood, or personhood. Like, it's fully not necessary to confine yourself to that system, and it's very important to kind of just unleash those chains from everybody, not even just trans people. Cis people absolutely would benefit from not being forced to just have these projected ideals that they try and strive for, most of which are impossible for any human anyways. You know, things like men having to dehydrate themselves for like a week before they have their shirtless shoot in a movie scene, women having to strive for airbrushed perfect bodies. Like, it's not good for anybody. It doesn't make any sense. So always important to keep that in mind. Already gone on another tangent. I'm gonna show you like other voices too. It might fluctuate throughout this video. It's actually stayed pretty consistent for the 4 minutes. It stayed a little consistent right now. Might even be improving a little bit as I exercise those muscles. But as a day-to-day, this is kind of how I sound still. I think it's higher than it used to be, just kind of through virtue of like continually pushing in that direction. Pretty sure it used to be a little bit deeper, and it's still very dysphoric for me to hear it. Luckily, most of the time we're able to tune out our own voices, but in like times like this where I'm recording a video, or if I hear it like looping back through my girlfriend's phone call, like it's very hard hitting. It's so embarrassing too. It doesn't need to be, but it really is a performance, especially in the element of voice. Even though you are presenting more accurately who you are, it's not something that is just inherent to you yet. There's a lot of pressure when it comes to a performance. You really want to get it right. So that's another reason that it's so daunting to start voice training. I guess sometimes I try and sound like this, and I think this might sound a little more cis. This might be closer to actually my goal, but I wind up slipping into the voice I've been using most of this video just because it's simpler. It's not as dramatic of a change, and so it feels a little bit like less of a performance. But this is definitely, there's some improvements to this one. Especially one thing that you gotta pay attention to with voices is you want that bouncy kind of sing-songy thing for trans femmes. Obviously, you know, I try and make sure that my content is completely inclusive to all of my trans siblings, because trans men are just as important and they're drastically overshadowed by trans women, and then non-binary folks as well. So many non-binary folks don't even feel like they can claim trans as a label for themselves. And if that's not something that you want for yourself, that's okay. You don't have to, but you are welcome under the trans umbrella. That's kind of the you know, trans is a term that includes, you know, gender fluid, non-binary, neo-pronouns, and, you know, binary, trans femme, trans masc. It's something that is important for all of us, and if you feel like you want to be a part of this, you want to adopt that label for yourself, but you feel like you're not trans enough because you're not part of the binary, that's bullshit. You are absolutely welcome. I personally welcome you here. I think I might have gone on a similar tangent in the last video. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but it's so important. You are 100% welcome, and if you want that label, you are 100% trans. So welcome to the community. That being said, myself being a trans woman, I know that most of the things I'm going to say are going to be more helpful or relatable to trans women themselves, or at least trans femmes. I know that is not universally the case. I run a stupid meme page, and I've had like a lot of trans men come by and be like, basically having like an outsider looking in perspective, and I'm always like, you're not an outsider. This is not exclusively a trans femme page. This is just content that I tend to post because, first off, it's unfortunately a lot easier to come by. Very difficult to find representation for trans men, unfortunately. But also it's just the content that I tend to relate to, and so it's the content that I push forward. But ultimately, I'm never trying to create a space that's exclusive to trans femmes. I'm 100% trying to make an inclusive area where all trans people can feel safe. So if you ever feel left out or ostracized by my content, I'm very sorry. I very much do want you here. You are important. You are part of the siblinghood, you know. That's why I want to start the videos saying hello to my trans siblings, because honestly, like, there's so much connecting all of us. Excuse me. Good. The experiences of trans people are wholly unique to each individual, but there are so many common threads that really do bind us together, to the point where if you just meet another trans person on the street, you immediately have more in common with them than another cis person or someone else who just wouldn't relate as much. And that's why I think it's very important for us to like lift each other up and really reinforce that idea of a community, especially right now. I'm sure we are all aware of the difficult time that trans people are facing right now. I have heard that it's likely that this is kind of the kind of final throes of the anti-trans movement. They are pushing really hard because they know that they've been losing. I know that it's really scary though, and it doesn't necessarily look like there's a light at the end of the tunnel or a silver lining to all of this. And it's pretty privileged to say that there is. You know, especially there are people who are not surviving this final death throes, if that is what it is. You know, names like Next Benedict, like things that we need to remember. But all of that being said, I'm doing my best to remain hopeful that it's not a trend. This is not going to continue. There was a Gallup poll and something like 70% of Americans are not in favor of all the anti-trans legislation going around. And that's saying a lot. This is a pretty divided red versus blue country, so, you know, 70% means that there are plenty of right-wing conservative Republicans that also don't think that we need to be attacked like this. So ultimately, I'm very hopeful. Well, very hopeful is kind of a strong phrase for it. I remain with my fingers crossed that things will continue to get better for us, but until others pick up our cause, I know that we have each other's backs. And that's why it's very important that we all remain connected. This has not been an update video, has it? Wow. This happened in the last video too. There's so many, like, I have such strong passion for my community. This is the first time that I've ever felt like I belonged to a group. This is the first time that I've loved being a part of a group and vehemently wanted to defend the group that I'm a part of. I've never felt that like pride before. You're all important to me, and I know that for most of us, we're all important to each other. No one has our backs like we do, and so I just want to continue spreading that message, you know. Even if all my videos wind up with me diatribing about how important our community is and how beautiful it is to be a part of it, I will keep making them because trans voices need to be heard. And I'm sorry that it took me so long to get back. A lot of things happened in my life. Part of that is definitely, like, I find it daunting for some reason. I've used that word a lot. I find it daunting to edit on my laptop or use like the big camera. So I say big camera, it's a DSLR, but I'm using my iPad right now and I should be editing on that. And I'm hoping that that'll make it feel more accessible to me. And hopefully that'll mean that I can put content out a little bit more regularly for you guys. I was really blown away by the response for my first video. I've had like 3 and 4 YouTube channels throughout my life. I remember as a kid, like, I thought that this was my dream. I wanted to be a YouTuber. That was my career goal for the longest time, despite my mother's constant begging that I choose a different path. Not once did I reach like 2,000 views on the first video. 12 comments might not seem like a lot, but if I had 12 people coming up to me and being like, hey, show us more, please talk to us more, like in person, like I'd be kind of overwhelmed and a little worried I was starting a cult. Okay, updates. I hope that you can tell I've gotten better at makeup since the last video. I've learned that like blues don't suit me. I do want to eventually do a video. Oh, that's a thick patch of glitter. Damn. Eventually I do want to do like a get ready with me because this is like full face makeup for me, but my typical look is very similar, honestly. Very minimal difference. The effort might be wasted, honestly, but I do want to kind of share that because learning that was very important for me. Obviously, makeup, unfortunately, is a unique journey for each of us because things like, oh, like what color are your veins? It's really confusing, but you know, you need colors that are going to work for you. I've learned that like blues and cool hues do not work well for me. In that first video, I tried to do the trans flag on my my eyeshadow. So I had blue in the middle, like a clear sparkly in the middle. Blue in the goodness. Blue in the far insides of my eyes. Clear glitter in the middle and pink on the outsides, and like red lipstick. It wasn't terrible. I'll admit it wasn't terrible. It wasn't good though. I did have one of like the only other trans woman in my local area. She reached out to me and was like, I've always wanted to like help another trans woman learn how to do makeup. So she actually taught me quite a bit. I'm very thankful to Gwyneth. But yeah, I knew I was coming back, and so I wanted to do a full makeup face to show you how far I'd come. Also, my face is different. It's probably harder to tell under the makeup, but HRT has been doing wonders for me. There's still aspects of my face that make me dysphoric, aspects that make me think I'm probably still going to go for FFS. But when I first started transitioning, I was like, waiting 2 years to get FFS? Absolutely not. No. I want that facial feminization surgery stat. Like, that's ridiculous. Now I'm a year in, and I did try and start the process, but it's expensive, and I don't live in a house where people would support me through that process, and that's a requirement, is that you have someone who's basically going to be able to not nanny you, but be your nurse for a while, take care of you. So it wasn't by choice, but honestly I'm glad, because I would far rather see what my face will look like based on just the hormones before I go and change things. I think some people say 5 years too, and that's completely valid. I don't know if I'll wait that long. I might have to. Times are hard, the economy's rough, yada yada yada. But we'll see. I'm happy that I've allowed myself to see that the changes that my body would make on its own without having to undo what testosterone did to me. Hold on, there's a cat hair in my nose. In other hormone news, I have these now. Pretty fucking awesome. Hello, Hobbs. Do you want to say hi? This is my baby Hobbs. I don't think I introduced him to you in the last video. Hi. Yeah, you see yourself? What was I saying? Oh, banging tits. No. Oh God. I'm glad you can't understand the horrendous things I say. Yeah. Slow progress. But I'm a year in, and I'm finally like at the level where I'm like, okay, they won't stop now, but if they did stop, I would be like okay with the size that they're at. While every day before that, I was like, come on, we gotta do more. Come on. I don't want to be flat-chested for the rest of my life. I want to at least be able to fake cleavage. Come on. I will say, one thing that has made a world of difference, avocados. You need to feed your body. If you are trying to change, basically the not the loadout. If you're trying to change the shape of your body, you need to feed it, especially through hormones. The estrogen is not going to be able to change things without having the fat to use. So that's a big thing. I know a lot of trans women like talk about like having like exponential growth like at a random period, like 3 to 5 years after starting HRT. I'm sure there are a lot of factors, but the biggest one I think has to be like eating and being in a position where your body feels safe enough to like process that food. Second part's very difficult. First part also unfortunately difficult in a lot of places. But if you can afford it, I had a diet where I was eating like 2 avocados a day. Sometimes it would fluctuate to 1, sometimes it would get like 3 or 4. My ass got so much bigger, so much faster. It wasn't where I was wanting it to go. I wanted it, up here, but I wasn't complaining. My butt, my thighs, and my breasts have gotten a lot bigger. And those were like, I'm not like rich. I wasn't able to afford to like continually do that. So those were like, I want to say like 1 to 2 week bursts, and I saw like significant improvement through that. I've tried to tell some of my other trans femme friends that. I think one of them just didn't have access to avocados that much, and the other one was like, ew, I don't like avocados. But the point is that it's not just avocados. First off, having something that I had to like prep, like you have to cut it and pull the pit out and scoop it, like it encouraged me to make better meals. I was like making more robust sandwiches or like eating them with like tomatoes and such. Basically I was feeding myself better during those times, and that's very important. So even if you don't have avocados, like just try and make sure that you're conscious about feeding yourself, and then also looking into healthy fats, because that's going to be a big part. You know, if you're just like eating like fast food every day, you're probably going to gain weight, but not in the way you want to, likely. It's more likely to go like, well, I hesitate to say like less flattering areas, because that's not fair. You know, fat is beautiful. If you are plus size, wonderful. Like, don't ever think that like your body is ugly just because it's bigger. Absolutely not true. But if you are looking to distribute fat on your body to specific parts, from the little research I've done, basically healthy fats, like the oil in avocados or avocado oil itself, your body's more able to like distribute that the way you're more likely to want. So, but yeah, just make sure you're taking care of yourself, feeding yourself, giving yourself water. You know, especially, I know a lot of us don't have the most supportive homes. I'm very happy for those of us that do. But most of us, you know, we're either in a situation where our parents are like, we love you, not who you are, but we love you, and dead name, misgender, or even worse, disowned and kicked out. It's very difficult in those situations to maintain like our mental health. So one of the biggest things is maintaining our physical health, because those are directly linked, and contributing to our physical health will contribute to our mental health. Not that that's easy when your mental health is struggling, trust me, I understand. So if you need small steps, start by like brushing your teeth, showering once a week, maybe change your bedding, or at least make your bed when you get up, just one day a week. Taking those just granular small steps towards just taking care of yourself. That's what's important, is to remember it's really difficult to love ourselves when people are saying that we're unlovable for who we are. Really, really difficult. But it's important that we show up for ourselves, because at the end of the day, we're oftentimes going to be the only person we have in our corner, whether that be because we don't have anyone in our lives that support us, or just because the people who do support us are either occupied or have their own struggles and don't have the energy to be there to display that. You know, there's going to be many nights alone with our own thoughts. The kinder we are to ourselves, the more we can love ourselves, the more we can see like our impulsive or intrusive thoughts and recognize like, hey, that's not me, that's what the world's telling me I am, and move through those and be like, I love myself for who I am, and I'm going to support myself every step through this journey. The safer we'll be. And the safer we are, the more we can help lift up each other. If you have the energy to lift up one of your trans siblings, I highly recommend it. I think it's very important that we're there for each other. With that, I've already been recording for 30 minutes. I don't think I'll break this up into 2 videos, even though maybe I should. Hopefully the algorithm likes the longer content. No, hopefully you like the longer content. Hopefully it feels more like a friend hanging out, because honestly, that's, even though I'm literally just looking at an iPad right now, that's how I feel recording these, and I think that is because I know that a lot of the people who will be watching this are going to be trans, and I already connect with you in a lot of ways that I can't connect with anyone else. So thank you for being here. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Oh, real quick. People were very, very like complimentary on my earrings last time. I just wanted to say I made these and I plan on selling more like them. I'm working on it. Currently I have a pretty dormant Instagram page called The Wilted Raven, and that is for my art shop. Not just jewelry, but other art too. but mostly jewelry. So if you want to follow that, waiting for me to revive that like I've revived this YouTube channel. Hopefully it'll be soon. I literally am looking at piles of jewelry that I've been working on. Here, I'll show you. There's a bunch of weird necklaces I've been making. I might not sell these online to start, especially if it doesn't get a lot of attention, but my girlfriend has a queer art shop near her that these will be going to. So just so you know, it's not like abandoned. Things are coming soon, hopefully. But yeah, thank you. Have a good day. I love you. Bye-bye.